Well, it seems like we have two unique populations in Tippecanoe County that have to do with underage drinking. One of which would be our university population, which is several thousand people that are under the age of 21 that are visitors to our community. And then second, our teenage population of the various high schools. So both of those present a unique challenge in education and enforcement.
Alcohol use with the young people, it's kind of on an incline. It seems to be people are starting to accept it as a common thing and something that's just that it's acceptable by the parents and by actually society itself, and it's becoming an issue for us.
I see two different kinds of impacts on the kids that I work with. I would say one is the personal impact on them. If a student drinks and is caught, here at Harrison and Tippecanoe School Corporation, we have a drug testing policy and we have an athletic code of conduct. Kids that go to parties and they get caught at those parties are going to have the impact of not being able to participate in athletics. We have kids that have lost scholarships. We have kids that have had records. They actually are arrested, and after their arrest, it's impacting the rest of their life, and it can impact future careers. The other side, I would say, is family impact. Many of the students that I talk with talk about having one or both parents using alcohol excessively.
Students also have access to alcohol if their parents drink, because then there's alcohol in the home. You know, there's alcohol in the basement where everybody hangs out. And so, you know, if you're having a party, if you're having friends over, you're just hanging out in the basement and you kind of out of the corner of your eye see the alcohol and you realize it's easy access. You can just grab a bottle and you're fine.
Many times they feel that their parents don't really understand them, don't care about them. There's no money to buy clothing and food because money's being spent on alcohol.
We have had instances with adults, parents even buying alcohol and furnishing it for high school age children and then providing an environment for them to consume alcohol.
It ranges from an older sibling to a stranger that they find in the parking lot, to a significant adult in their family. Oftentimes there's a relief if all your child is doing is drinking. And so, you know, there are instances where at least we've been suspect that actually parents are providing alcohol for children. Kids can be pretty resourceful when it comes to that. It's readily available to them, readily accessible, and whether or not they get that themselves or they solicit the help of another adult, that seems pretty easy for them to come by if they're determined to do so.
In 18 years as a police officer, I've unfortunately been to several underage drinking parties. There might be parents or adults at the party, and I'm not referring to someone if you've got a 22-year-old that's at the party. It'll be a party we get a call to, we go there, we check it out, and we've actually got a parent, somebody in their 30s and 40s, who are sitting upstairs where you've got the underage drinking, her downstairs. Well, you know, they just graduated from school. It might be a holiday, you know, it's Memorial Day, or it's even Christmas, Thanksgiving. Parents will use these as excuses to say this is why it's okay. There's many things that parents will do, and a lot of the parties we go to are that way. And it's not just the drinking that you're going to find in a lot of these underage parties, but drug usage that's going on also in them.
Many times parents don't intentionally give their students or their children alcohol, but it's in their home and maybe their parents aren't available when they're having friends in, when they're having a party, or they choose not to pay attention because maybe sometimes it's easier not to pay attention, and if you don't know, you don't have to say no.
I think that's a large part of at least the education front of giving people expectations, giving our young adults the consequences for their actions, and then holding them accountable, at least telling them beforehand that they'll be held accountable so that the back end maybe doesn't occur.
There's a nationwide program, but we brought it to Harrison, and it's called Every 15 Minutes. It's a 2-day program, and it takes out 25 kids. We reenact, you know, them getting hit by a drunk driver or something like that, and then those kids are kind of shafted away for 2 days, and no one has contact with them. And so it kind of gives the whole solemn feel at Harrison High School what it would be like if somebody did pass away because of a drunk driver. It was a really deep program, and it really brought out emotion and realization of the horrors of alcohol and what it can cause.
I think in Tippecanoe County, people need to understand that alcohol impacts kids greatly. I think many times people think it's only alcohol, and they believe that marijuana and other drugs are much more dangerous to their kids.
We had a student who died because of a drunk driver. Her name was Kate Baker, and she, it kind of brought people to terms again with what alcohol can cause, and it showed high school students that we aren't invincible.
I think our community needs to continually be involved in looking at the accessibility of alcohol. Examples that I can think of is the ACE checkpoints that our community does, where we go into establishments that sell alcohol and see whether they do sell to minors or not, and reward those organizations that don't sell to minors to let them understand the importance of protecting our youth.
Alcohol use and other behaviors that are detrimental to kids typically are a symptom of feeling undervalued and marginalized and kind of oppressed in a society where they think they have nothing to contribute. And we need to find ways for them to feel that they're a viable part of this community and that their input and their participation is valued.
I would say that Tippecanoe County is very lucky to have a coalition like we have. The Drug-Free Coalition of Tippecanoe County does an awful lot of work to protect kids, to protect adults, to educate. With the grants that the coalition gives out, with the education that they have, with their community forums, they are allowing the community to be aware of the issues. And I think it's just great that we have some organization that can do that for our community.